my name is Mariana Mahani, and this week we're using the kickboard. Now I want to talk about using the kickboard because I want to talk about a traditional way of using it and how we can modify it a little bit to serve some other purposes. Now, a lot of us would hold the kickboard this way, I know I did, and you would push and pull in the water. Push, pull, push, pull. Now, doing that actually is pretty hard on your hands because you have so much surface area and it creates so much resistance. So a little tip about doing that is to actually release the fingers. So when you push the board forwards, you push with the heel of your hand, and when you pull the board in towards you, that's when you press your fingers on the board. So you actually let go and then you pull in with your fingers. So it looks like this. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. And that's a lot kinder on your hands, to do this type of movement pattern. But there's another way that you can use the board in a similar fashion, but it's a little bit easier, and that's to angle the board on what I call a 45-degree angle, and also to have just the top part of the board out of the water. It changes everything. It allows you to move a lot faster. And why move a bit faster? Well, it gives you more options for what you want to do with your legs. For example, single. If I want to move from side to side, it's a lot easier than if I hold the board vertically, which is a lot slower, okay? So I can keep the board moving more quickly from side to side. I can add a stomping motion. Push down, push down, push down. So it's sort of the legs match what the arms are doing. I can go double from one side to the other, keeping the board angled. Yep, and just a little bit of the board out of the water. I can go single, single, double. Single, single, double. It works really well with the Queen song. We will rock you. We will rock you. So it works really well with that type of music. So angling the board and holding it on an angle. Now you can also do it with kicking. Now with kicking, we can hold the board at a 45-degree angle and push forwards with every kick like this. Or you can hold the board vertically and you push forwards on every second kick, remembering to release and push. So release and push. It's a different type of exercise because it's a little bit slower and it requires, obviously some coordination with releasing and letting go of the fingers. But it's a challenging one on the hands. So you always want to make sure that you're breaking up your choreography or whatever you're doing with perhaps a movement where you've got the hands on the board and you're just moving from side to side and you're not actually having to grip the board for any real length of time. Having said that, gripping is important and people do need to practice gripping, but with the board it can be a little bit more awkward because of the angle that the hands have to be in to actually grip and be able to hold the board still. So use it and use it, in those different ways. Have the way to let go and release. Angle the board to make it a little bit easier to move through the water. And of course, if people are really struggling, they can just skim across the top of the surface rather than actually pushing the board at all. So that's an alternative. But let's get the kickboard into more Aqua classes and use this wonderful piece of equipment. And that's this week's Aqua tip. Demonstrating the 45-degree angle of the board is really easy on land. The key thing here though is to be aware of ensuring that your clients understand what you mean by tilting the board slightly in the pool. And that means doing it this way when you're facing the class is not very wise because you can't really tell the difference from here to there. I always turn side on and I show the tilt on an angle. I tell them, avoid holding it vertical because it will slow you down. I want you to angle the board and I want you to move at my speed. That means if you're really struggling, it's because your board is too vertical, angle it more. And then try and get the top part of the board out of the water. Now, try to keep up with me. If you're struggling, turn the board further down in the water, angle it more in the water so that you can move at the same speed as me. And then, of course, you can add the stomping motion. So stomp, stomp, stomp. Now, when you stomp, lift your knee up, push your foot down. Can you see what I'm sort of doing with my body? That's important for them to understand that there's a bit of force that needs to go into the floor. But from an instructor's point of view, try to avoid actually pushing your foot down hard to the floor because sometimes you can actually push yourself a little too hard. I know I've done that and then injured my calf in just banging the pool floor too hard when I'm on land. Not in the water, it's fine, but on land it can be a problem. Therefore, you lift the knee up high and you sort of do this movement with your body which indicates force. That's sort of what you do in the pool too. So push, push, push your foot down, push your foot down, lift the knee up, stomp the foot down. And then of course you've got the doubles, right? So 1, 2, lift the knee up, lift the knee up. It's this sort of motion that you do with your shoulders and the pulling of the knee up that shows energy. Watch the difference if I just lift my knee up and I just push my foot down. It doesn't portray energy or enthusiasm or force, you know. It's pretty much the same move. I've just gotten rid of what the upper body was doing. So try to pull the elbows back and imagine you're pushing against force in the water and your participants will pick up on that and will also apply themselves. So not a difficult exercise to demonstrate, but there is a little bit of technique that you've got to show with your whole body to get your participants to do what you want them to. And that is this week's Aqua tip.